Hey, today we're talking about Jumanji, Avatar, Employee of the Month, and Infinity War on Your Positive Review with Ryan
and Camia.
So, we just watched Too Many Cooks from Adult Swim. It's Maya's first time watching it. If you haven't seen it, just put into YouTube Too Many Cooks. It's the first thing that pops up. It's made by Adult Swim. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
I don't know.
It's pretty freaking funny.
If they had ended it sooner.
It is a little long, but if you're
long.
listening to this, you can sit through an 11-minute video.
It was hard for me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's difficult. So we got to make this one shorter, because the other one was a bit long.
Well, good thing we're not talking about Kingdom Hearts today.
Well, continuing the sandbagging. So this week, what did we watch?
We finished Avatar.
The Last Airbender, yes. If you don't know what Avatar The Last Airbender is, listen to the last episode. We explained it a little bit. Basically, it's a cartoon where they can manipulate elements with magic stuff. There was some pretty good stuff near the ending, though. Even though it's a kid's show, it gets super deep. Also, oh my god, I keep forgetting to put this in the notes. Spoilers for everything we're talking about. We don't really want to have to deal with working around spoilers. So, spoiler alert. Anyway. In the last, I think, few episodes, gets into some really deep stuff. Psychology with characters. Azula, the kind of one of the main threats throughout the story, starts losing her mind. Her fight with Zuko, her brother, is pretty good. They're both firebenders.
That's firebending noise.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like. So the main bad guy throughout the whole series is the Fire Lord, the guy who runs the Fire Nation, who's played by Mark Hamill. For anybody who doesn't know, that's Luke Skywalker. Yeah,
I knew it.
Yeah, who also plays the Joker in the Batman animated show. So it's not really a huge departure from what he normally voices. It's like he played Luke Skywalker, and then all he's ever voiced is villains. It's pretty funny. But it gets into some, again, pretty deep territory, because everybody's telling Aang, the main character, that he needs to kill Ozai. But obviously they can't do that, because it's a cartoon. So there's this whole conflict.
Yeah, kill him. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty evil. It's not really up for debate. But he's a 12-year-old kid.
Aang, yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also taught, because the monks, with the airbenders, always taught him that every life is precious.
Yeah.
So that's what he was taught growing up.
Yeah, so he needs to not, or he feels that he needs to not kill Ozai. And again,
it's a little frustrated with him. So just do it, buddy.
Yeah.
But you also have never been told that there is another way. So it's
Yeah. And again, he's a 12-year-old kid. I mean, being told to kill an adult, that's kind of heavy stuff.
Right.
But he ends up finding a way around it. And again, it's a kid's show, so of course they had to find a way around it. They can't do that in a friggin' cartoon, murdering people. And then we started it over. We started watching it again.
Yeah. We were really sad it ended. And then we paused for a minute, and I was like, wait, there's not any rules telling you that you can't just start it over. Keep the magic alive.
Yeah.
So yeah, we started it over.
And now we're watching it again. We went to Target yesterday.
Target.
And I was
surprised there.
Yeah. I was looking for the movie because I think I want to cover the movie on here, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the most hated movies ever.
Even heard of it?
Yeah. I remember enjoying it, but I think I've only seen it once. So We also finished the first season of the Great British Baking Show. Cool little emphasis on family at the end there, because at the end they have all the families of
and friends
of the final contestants show up.
and all the other contestants.
Yeah, which was cool.
Well, we finished season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So.
Season 2 started a little rough because
Everybody was crying.
Yeah, but
It was really obnoxious.
I have a massive crush on Ruby.
She was the emotionally unstable one the whole season. She cried all the time.
But she's so attractive. I'm not even joking. I can't even right now. Anyway. And then Maya managed to get me hooked on Bachelor in Paradise. First of all, a little rant about Hulu. Hulu is literally the worst platform for streaming.
Don't say that.
I don't want to be sponsored by them.
Oh my god. It's not even why you should say it. It's not.
They have ads, which is frustrating.
It's like watching cable.
I know, but you're already paying for the thing. Netflix doesn't have ads.
I only pay $5 for it.
Still. And it
get
never
Hulu
works.
And Spotify for $5.
Well,
it was a package deal because I'm a college student. And luckily it renewed before I graduated, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I still get another year. They're still only charging me $5. It's not like I planned that.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Yeah. I'm going to be really sad when it's over. Maybe I'll buy Hulu Plus. And then you don't have to watch the ads.
Yeah, but we don't. So the other thing about Hulu, unless you have perfect internet, it never works. It buffers really badly. And, I mean, we don't have great internet, but Netflix works perfectly. Why?
Anyways, we're not here to talk about Hulu.
Anyway.
We're here to talk about Bachelor in Paradise. I'm a huge Bachelor fan.
So, we watched the Too Many Cooks thing because the intro for Bachelor's in Paradise
Almost Paradise
reminds me of the Too Many Cooks thing. It's ridiculous. They all look at the camera and smile and then have something goofy happen to them.
Hardly any of them make sense.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb. But
There have
yeah,
been some pretty dumb ones in the past. This season's actually not that bad.
it's an entertaining show though. I mean, it's all drama and relationship.
The thing about the Bachelor
issues.
world is it really gets you hooked.
Yeah.
I used to think it was so dumb, and then my college roommate, she watched it, so I was, just in the room watching it with her.
Yeah.
I was like sucked in from the first episode I watched, and I've been watching it ever since. And I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, "No, Camille, that's so dumb." Well, guess what?
Mom.
Now she's hooked too. So is both of my sisters, even though they thought Miranda took the longest. Miranda took the longest,
down.
yes. But now she watches it all the time. We text each other after every episode.
Oh my god. Yeah, I got hooked pretty quick. It didn't take me long.
It really doesn't take you long. You just want to figure out what happens.
When Calls the Heart took me a lot longer to get into than Bachelor.
Yeah, we kind of took a break from that too.
Yeah.
It got really depressing.
Yeah. But
We're just watching too many shows at one time. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, we really need to. That's why I only watch like one show at a time. I binge the entire thing and then I move on. But yeah, but now the problem is that the too many shows are all freaking coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
Still haven't caught up on Jessica Jones, Luke Cage.
I don't care about those.
I do. But yeah, obviously Bachelor in Paradise is all dramatic. It's making me really upset to be associated with the male gender because men are
Chris.
awful. And I'm sure a lot of it is the editing.
Oh, yeah.
They make it seem... But it's like, some of it seems pretty real, though. And
Well,
it's
yeah,
like...
I mean, obviously some of it is. They can't, especially when they have the camera on the person while they're saying something. Like, obviously they said that. But a lot of the times, I listen to a lot of Bachelor podcasts. And my favorite one, she was the Bachelorette. Her name's Caitlin Bristow. She was, like, my favorite. I feel like they haven't had a good... Well, I mean, they've all been entertaining, but There was nobody quite like her. Because she just wasn't like the typical, and she talks about that too, is like she just wasn't a typical bachelorette, like the all-American girl, which is usually who they cast, and she's just not like that. And it's probably partly because she's Canadian, but
Oh, Canada.
yeah, and she talks about how all the time, like when she watched her season back, they would like take, because she basically knew who she was going to pick night one. She said it was like love at first sight. They're still together. It's been years too.
Dang.
And but I mean, obviously she still had to ride the season out.
Yeah.
And she was like watching it back, and she was like, I said that stuff about Sean. I didn't say about that other guy. So they took like what she was saying about Sean to make it seem like she was, like talking about. So they do that kind of stuff all the time, and you can tell when they're not. It's when their voice is just in the background. Yeah. And they're showing something else.
Yeah. The producers of that show, I feel, are pretty evil because like they plan stuff very carefully, connivingly.
And I was surprised because I only really listened to 2 Bachelor podcasts, but I was surprised they didn't talk about how the producers completely set up the whole Tia and Colton thing. Because they obviously know the day he's coming in. They obviously gave Tia that date card. Yeah. And then, So I was surprised they didn't talk about that.
It's a whole lot of garbage.
Yeah.
But they did one thing really cool. That conversation the 2 dudes had that was like super deep about how shallow people can be and how the whole mice returning to the cheese thing.
Oh.
And it's like they're having this super deep conversation and they're overlaying it with people who are doing what they're talking about. That was done really well, actually, which was shocking in a show this
shallow.
Yeah.
The reason for people who don't care about this, just skip ahead. Sorry, we're talking about it for so long. But the reason I continue watching it is not just because it's entertaining and dramatic. I mean, that's partly why, obviously. Yeah. But the reason I've always watched it is because, like, the people who go on it are just normal people. Yeah. And I stalk a lot of them on Instagram.
Nice.
But it's like literally just normal people who, some of them obviously did go on because they know that they're going to get more Instagram followers or like they have some sort of agenda. But just like from a lot of the seasons, I feel like the people who make it the farthest are always the people who go on there to like actually find love. And it's just the concept is just so interesting to me because I don't know if I'd ever get that desperate enough to just be like, well, let's just go on a show. Why not? I mean, I guess, but
I don't think you're gonna have that problem, Maya. I'm sure you'll find someone who loves you.
Thanks.
Getting real deep here. But
just turn this into a therapy session.
Other than that,
anyways,
we also I mostly watched Batman Ninja, which is a new animated movie from DC. It was all right. It was much more, I feel, style over substance. I would highly recommend watching it in Japanese. I watched it in Japanese when you were at work. God. It made a lot more sense in Japanese. Oh. I feel like because of the way the animation is, they tried to write dialogue that matched the mouths, and the English dialogue doesn't make much sense. Oh. It's all kind of like, what are you talking about? That doesn't even... Anyway, but the animation was super good. All the character designs were really cool. The concept is, for anybody who cares about comic books, Gorilla Grodd invents a time machine that sucks all of Arkham Asylum back into feudal Japan, and then they just kind of fight. That's pretty much it. But the character designs are super good. The animation's good. The fighting's good. Watch it in Japanese. I feel like it would have been better if they had done like Bruce Wayne raised in Japan as opposed to this weird time machine thing. I feel like that would have made more sense. And then yesterday Maya got Infinity War.
I feel like we should spend like only 2 minutes talking about this because I could probably spend like 2 hours talking about it.
Yeah, I think we might do a separate podcast at some point talking about Infinity War. I think we're going to call these episodes because at the moment we're only on YouTube. Whenever I figure out, and then, I mean, it's not really going to be a big issue when I put it on iTunes whenever I figure that out. We're going to devote an entire episode to an Infinity War at some point. Because that movie has way too much in it.
It was still sad though, the second time.
Yeah, it
Still sad.
doesn't really get easier.
Still had like 100% of the emotions I had the first time. It wasn't even like 80%. It's like just 100.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the 4th or 5th time I've seen it now. I saw it a
I
lot
wanted
in
to see it in the
theaters.
theater again, but it just never worked out. It was
Yeah.
really sad.
Yeah, I saw it a few times in the theaters. The gasp,
Is that why you didn't laugh as
Never
much as
really.
me?
probably.
Oh, because
Seen
I
it
feel
a
like I
lot.
was laughing the whole time.
Why is Gamora still gets me every time?
I'll do you one better.
So, yeah, main event time.
Main event. Woo!
Cool. Today we're talking about Jumanji, which obviously you know from the title of the episode. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why are you covering Jumanji? Everybody likes that movie. And
Plot twist.
you would be correct.
Oh.
But it has a terrible Rotten Tomatoes score. According to Rotten Tomatoes, this movie is rotten.
Wow.
So, quick premise. For those of you that don't know, Jumanji came out December 1995. The summary is, when two kids find and play a magical board game, they release a man trapped for decades in it, and a host of dangers that can only be stopped by finishing the game. And that was written by Kenneth Chisholm,
Wow, you didn't
or
even write
Chisholm, from IMDb.
You didn't even write the summary yourself?
No.
You stole it?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds
But
good.
I put the guy's name in there.
Right.
And it's also on the internet. So it's free
Did you
game
do
in my
proper
opinion.
citation?
Yeah, I said Kenneth
APA format?
You want to pronounce that Kiss Home? There's no R. That's
Oh,
exactly
that's
how
weird.
it was. It was Kenneth
I would
Kiss
say...
Home.
Yeah. Chisholm?
He might not be... Might be European.
Maybe it was spelled wrong.
I don't know. That's how it was spelled on IMDb. Anyway, so numbers. Critics' score on Rotten Tomatoes is 53%. According to them, that means the movie's
Wow.
rotten.
Freaking
Yeah.
critics.
Yeah.
From the 90s?
Yeah, there weren't a lot of reviews on it, but...
Well, yeah, because it was made in the 90s.
Well, yeah, but, I mean, there are other movies older and around the same time period that have some more reviews that are positive. I don't understand. But then the audience score is 62%. That's freaking low.
I feel like
don't-
I've never met somebody who doesn't like Jumanji, or they
Yeah.
just like haven't seen it.
Yeah. I don't
So
think I've
weird.
met anybody that has not seen it, and everybody that I know that's seen it freaking likes the movie. I think I like it a bit more than a lot of people. I mean, I've never heard anybody, yeah, freaking Jumanji sucks. What? And again, IMDb is a 6.9. Not shocking, because all IMDb
weird.
scores are freaking 5 to 6.
Unless it's Infinity War, that has an 8.
Yeah. Directed by Joe Johnston, who also directed the first Captain America movie.
Oh.
Interesting. Not really related at all, but interesting.
Guess.
It only had a budget of $65 million, and it
Really?
made
Wow.
$262 million.
Dang.
So it definitely made money, which, of course, obviously warranted the sequel that came out friggin' 30 years later or whatever. Now we're getting into spoilers for Jumanji. So, I mean, this movie is also, what, friggin' almost 20 years old? How old are you?
21.
So, yeah, the movie's like 22 years old. So, if you haven't seen this movie, friggin' go watch the movie. I'm sure you can find it pretty cheap.
At Target.
Yeah. Stars Robin Williams, R.I.P. Still not over that.
I don't think anyone is.
No. But yeah, spoiler time. Spoilers for the rest of the main event here. A lot of good stuff in this movie. A lot of interesting psychology. And I think that so I mean, obviously as a kid, you watch it, there's some funny moments, there's a lot of peril.
Scary moments.
Yeah.
I used to be scared to watch it.
What?
I used to get scared when I watched it.
Oh, yeah. It's a good movie. Well, yeah, I think you were obviously younger. I was, 5? Because it came out physically May 1996, which was before you were even born. So I would have been 5 when I saw it-ish, 5 or 6. I don't really remember the first time we watched it. I know we were kids when we watched it. I don't think we saw it in the theater. I don't know. I'd have to ask Mom and Dad and see if they remember. But anyway.
I don't know. This is totally off topic, but I just remembered it when you said 5-year-old. I didn't remember if I told you this, but one of the moms of my kids on when I asked them to write something like their kids' interests and stuff, she put Deadpool. I was like, what? I wasn't sure if it was just the character himself or she actually meant the movie.
Wow.
I was like, I really hope you're not letting your 5-year-old watch that movie.
Yeah. Kamea's a kindergarten teacher. Kamea's a kindergarten teacher. And yeah, apparently a 5-year-old kid super into Deadpool. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. I remember telling somebody.
Now it's on the internet. But yeah, so the movie, it deals with Robin Williams' character, little kid at the beginning, finds a board game.
Gets sucked into it.
Yeah. It has, like I said, some interesting psychology because the instructions on the board game, one of the lines from it was a way to leave their or your, I can't remember, I think a way to leave their world behind. And it's like all the kids involved in this movie all are trying to escape the life that they are not super happy with.
Oh.
Alan in the beginning is about to run away when he runs into Sarah at the door, and then they hear the drums and then they start playing the game. Sarah doesn't seem super happy with her life because some boy that is defending her honor and thinks that she's his girlfriend, she doesn't really seem that interested in him.
She's really tall for a 13-year-old too.
Well, I think she's taller than him. I remember girls being taller than me when I was 13.
Right.
It was very emasculating.
Oh my god.
But then they stopped growing and I kept growing.
Right.
So
that's usually how it works.
Yeah. So yeah, and then when Judy and Peter, when Judy and Peter get introduced, their parents have died, and they're also not super content with where they're living.
Troubled kids.
Yeah, so it's really interesting how they wove that in there. The funny bit that I really enjoy, there's a lot more humor in it, I feel, as an adult, because when the aunt goes downstairs when they're remaking the house with Judy and Peter, she's like, "We're gonna have ice cream," and then she whispers, "and bourbon." I distinctly remember as a kid asking Mom and Dad, "What's bourbon?"
Bourbon?
Shut up! I can't talk ever. It's a good thing I chose this medium to express myself. She says, "and bourbon," and I asked Mom and Dad what bourbon is, and they're like, "Don't worry about it," or something. I don't remember their answer. I just distinctly remember asking them. Now,
that is a good
as an
cop
adult.
Out. Don't worry about it. Okay.
It's all good. And then when Alan, after he gets out of the game, is arguing with Sarah about playing and stuff, it's none of that as a kid I really understood. I mean, they're fighting, whatever. But yeah, it's a lot funnier as an adult. But when Alan and Sarah first get the game in the 60s, when the movie starts, and the little pieces magically adhere to the game, they're like, "Oh, it's magnets." But then when Judy and Peter get it in 1995, and it does the same thing, they're like, "Oh, it's microchips." It's funny. It's like those were the heights of technology at the time. It's so funny. I also did appreciate the Wonderful Life situation that they got going on. The movie It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
This is kind of, I guess, taking a little bit of elements from it, because in the 60s, when the kids get it, Alan gets sucked into the game, and then in 1995, when he gets out of the game, he's running around the town, it's all dilapidated.
Oh, right.
Just like it's like his existence affected a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
Than
one would think.
Yeah. Just like It's a Wonderful Life, which is one of the best movies ever.
That's a Christmas movie, right?
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
This could also be considered a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it came out in December, and at the end,
it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So a great family holiday movie.
Yeah, that almost has nothing to do with the holidays. More psychology stuff. There was this super interesting, or I guess cool, theme of fear or being afraid. Like Alan
it's okay
throughout.
to be afraid.
It is okay to be afraid, but you also got to stand up to what you're afraid of. I think there's that whole thing like courage isn't the absence of fear; it's knowing what to do in the face of fear, or something like that. I probably butchered it. Like the whole movie, Alan is kind of a coward. He's always running away. When he's a kid, when he's a friggin' adult, and I mean, granted, they're running away from giant animals, so it's like, how do you really fight a giant animal? But then at the end, he does fight the animal when he frickin' tackles that crocodile. It's good stuff. It's growing. We're all growing and becoming better people.
Well, it's just funny that he's still afraid because he spent 26 years in a jungle. It's like, why should he be afraid? But then he also did say that he was scared of outside, and when they come back to the house and it's all like a jungle, he's like, I feel at home here.
Yeah, I'm used to this. I did have an interesting theory. Completely unconfirmed, have no idea. I'm wondering if at one point, because the main villain is a guy named Van Pelt, I guess. I think the board game would really be considered the villain, because it's the one spawning all the problems. But
just one of the issues.
Yeah, it's, I guess, more of an antagonistic force. But anyway, I'm wondering, what if Alan was at one point an apprentice to Van Pelt? Because in the beginning, when Alan first shows up and the kids aren't around, he smells them out. And then later on, they show Van Pelt, and he smells which direction they went. And maybe that's why Van Pelt doesn't like him and is constantly hunting him, is because he betrayed him in some fashion.
Well, no, because when he tells Sarah, he's like, I could have shot you at any moment, and she's like, why didn't you? He said, because you didn't roll the dice.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's just because Alan was the one who rolled, and he came out of the board. So if it had been any of the other three, I think he would have been hunting them, is what he made it sound like.
Yeah, but there does, seem to be history behind
Well, yeah, like,
too.
Obviously they know each other, because, I mean, as soon as Alan read the board, he knew.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that would be an interesting little... Because, obviously he spent 26 years in the frickin' board game.
Yeah.
So he's obviously come across this guy, and I just thought it'd be interesting if they were at one point... Because the actor who plays Alan's dad also plays Van Pelt, which I think is supposed to be... You didn't realize that?
No.
No way. Obviously he's wearing like a blonde wig and
They made him look so different.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But yeah, it's the same actor. And I think that's supposed to be like a Peter Pan type thing. Because like in most Peter Pan adaptations, the same person who plays the darling parent, the darling father also plays Captain Hook.
Oh.
Like in the Peter Pan that came out in the early 2000s. Anyway, so I think that's supposed to be that kind of... But it also is very thematic because he was afraid of his father, he's afraid of Van Pelt.
Yeah.
And so that also feeds my theory is maybe at one point Van Pelt was a father figure to him, and again, Alan betrayed him in some fashion or was a coward and caused something bad to happen, and that's why Van Pelt has a vendetta against him.
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll never know. I just thought that was an interesting theory. So now we're going to be getting into the complaints with the movie. Rotten Tomatoes didn't have a consensus on this one, so unfortunately I actually had to read a negative review, which I wasn't happy about. But I did mostly skim through it. I just went to Roger Ebert's review for it because, he's like the quintessential movie critic.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. Him and Siskel had a show...
Siskel.
In I think the 90s called Siskel and Ebert Go to the Movies. And they just reviewed movies on TV.
Oh, interesting.
But they were like super movie critics. So like I didn't really appreciate any of their opinions. But he measures movies on a scale of 1 to 4. He gave this one a 1.5. I'm just going to read out some snippets because I don't want to read the whole thing and I don't want to get too into it before I get angry. One of his complaints, the main complaint that was on Rotten Tomatoes website, a gloomy special effects extravaganza filled with grotesque images generating fear and despair.
Jeez.
Wow. Drama queen much.
Has he ever seen other movies before?
Yeah, well, he famously doesn't really like horror movies.
I was gonna say, maybe he should go watch It.
Well,
I'd love to see what he says about that one. Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, he
But I was
died.
like,
He had cancer. He had cancer and he got really, like, it's kind of sad, really. He had a very distinctive jaw. Like, that and he was overweight. Those are, like, his two main defining features.
Oh.
And he had thyroid cancer, and they had to remove his jaw. So
Because of his thyroid?
he couldn't talk anymore.
Oh my gosh.
And
that is really
he
sad.
looks really creepy, like, in his last
Jeez.
days. Yeah, it's very sad. But then he found, like, blogging became his thing. So even though he couldn't talk anymore, he still reviewed movies. And now he's dead. Anyway. Yeah. He also, like, one of his other complaints was that this movie was marketed for kids, but it's not his thing. This movie isn't for children. It's like, why? I watched it as a kid. I think most people in my generation watched it as kids.
Right. I mean, I was scared, but I wasn't that scared to where I had, like, nightmares. Or...
Yeah. Like, it wasn't The Mummy.
Oh, God. It's not even that scary.
Yeah, it's animals, and, I mean, they're a little more real, so I guess that might make it a little scarier. Like, the argument could be made that because it's real stuff, it is scarier, but it's not that scary.
Those huge mosquito things aren't real, unless they are somewhere. Which is really sad.
Yeah. Well, all the animals are, like, blown up.
The huge plant thing wasn't real.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist anywhere.
It's a little ridiculous. I don't understand.
Generating fear and despair. Like, what the heck?
It's so dramatic.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It's really not.
Anyway.
I mean, there's like a few jump scares, but it's just because like something comes out of nowhere. I didn't feel fear or despair watching that movie, even as a kid.
Yeah. The other main complaint that I kind of have a huge issue with is there is little attempt to construct a coherent story.
Oh my god.
I don't. So okay, let's deconstruct that. There's a little attempt. So there is some attempt.
Yeah.
But it's little to construct a coherent story. How is it not coherent?
Yeah.
It's about standing up to your fears. I mean, it is kind of all, like, sequential. The board game is mostly a way to progress the story, but that's what the movie's about. It's about a board game. How are they supposed to beat the game if they don't play the game? I don't know.
Yeah, that's really dumb.
I don't understand how it's not coherent.
Yeah.
I, as a child, understood the story.
Yeah.
They have to play the game to win.
To win.
And Alan is having to do this. Well, so that was as a kid. As an adult, you see Alan has to become less afraid to play the game. And so does Sarah, and they all have to grow to be less cowardly.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, when everything's returned to normal and they go back and none of it really happened, they learned from it. That's a pretty deep story. So
I would say it's pretty coherent.
Yeah, I don't know. It's dumb.
I think it was a huge attempt
to construct a well-made story.
Yes.
Not quite as eloquent
the
as
exact
Mr. Ebert.
opposite of what he said.
It's good stuff.
It was a huge success because an attempt is just like you're attempting something.
Yeah.
It doesn't say if it was
Huge
successful or not.
attempt to make a well-rounded story.
Oh my god.
That's our quote for Jumanji. When the movie comes out, they can put that
when the movie
in the trailer.
comes out. Going back in time.
We're gonna Jumanji it. But yeah, so I mean, it might be a little bit cheating because I think everybody pretty much agrees that Jumanji's a good movie. but just because it had a low Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, it's weird that, even IMDb.
Yeah, 6.9.
6.9. I think the CGI is pretty terrible, but...
That was the other complaint from a lot of other people, was that the...
Oh, were those reviews made, like, this century?
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't really look into it.
When you watch old movies, you have to watch it with the lens of, like, okay, this was made a long time ago. They didn't have the technology. And I feel like even with it, like, the movie visually didn't age well, but I feel like the story
aged
as
really
a whole
well.
aged very well. Yeah. Like, I still enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I still laughed.
Yeah.
But yeah, the puppetry work, though, was all really good. The lion. The lion when it comes down. Well, yeah. But when the lion comes down on the piano, that was a really good looking friggin' paw.
When it's half in the shadow, it looks really scary and real.
Yeah.
But when they shine more light on it.
Yeah. Yeah, the monkeys. So but the thing is because this is 1995, what was cool is that obviously most of the animals, well, all the animals were fake. Most of them were CG. Some of them were puppets.
Monkeys.
Yeah.
They just look so bad.
But all the destruction that happens
is very real.
It looks pretty freaking real.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
you can tell because, like, at the beginning we mentioned we watched Infinity War. And then watching behind the scenes, all of it is just green screen.
Yeah.
There's very few parts that are, like, shot
on location.
And I feel like you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
But when you watch this, you can obviously tell that the places, the whole set is real. Yeah. The house is definite. Like everything, everywhere they go, even driving, it's all real.
Yeah, it was all. I saw that it was all shot like in New England because the town Bradford is made up. It's not real, but they shot in New England all that stuff. So.
Well, they said Bradford, New Hampshire, but they
real.
kept referencing New England in the movie. And I was like, what?
New Hampshire's part of New England.
Oh, okay.
New England is the whole 13 colonies thing.
What? Like nobody calls it that.
The New England Patriots.
What state are they in?
Oh boy. Kindergarten teacher. Teacher! Oh my god! I can't even burn you properly.
I don't teach history. Where's Corey? We need him on this podcast.
What's New England? Anyway, but yeah, so like all the CGI stuff interacts with the environment, which is cool. The freaking all the doors opening, all the pots swinging, the doors smashing, even the little when the monkeys jump over the hedges move. I don't know how they did that.
Right. I feel like it was pretty good for its time. I don't really watch a lot of 90s
Yeah.
movies,
Well, the thing is like, we're probably, I don't know if we're going to cover it, but Event Horizon is like a horror movie that came out in the early aughts, I think. The CGI in that movie is terrible. The prosthetic work is really good, but the freaking CGI is awful. It's worse than this. And that came out later. So it's the special effects in this movie aged fine.
Yeah.
Obviously they look
like take away
fake.
from the movie.
Yeah.
You notice it, but you're not. I didn't get.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just not a person who really gets hung up on those kind of things. I can see somebody being really annoyed by it, but.
Yeah. But the thing is all the CGI interacts with the environment in a way that makes it look more real. With something like Infinity War, where even the environment CGI, it all looks fake. It's fine because it looks good fake.
Yeah, I guess I take it back what I said just a few minutes ago. You can't really tell it's all green screen, but you just kind of know it is.
Yeah, because your mind realizes that and just freaking throws it in the back and it's like, shut up, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I believe they were
shut up and enjoy the movie.
On an alien planet named Titan.
Yeah.
I didn't question it.
Yeah. Good movie though. Jumanji. Go watch it. And then be sad about
and then watch the next one.
Yeah. The next one's universally accepted as being good. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to.
It's just more modern.
Yeah. And it's got The Rock in it.
This one, I feel like this is just a classic.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because I watched it as a kid, but I don't know.
It's good stuff.
It's still on TV sometimes.
I think so.
It
It had a TV show. It had a cartoon, too.
What?
I want to find the cartoon.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was animated. For anybody that knows, it had the same animation style as the Wild Thornberrys. You remember that show on Nickelodeon?
Nope.
Okay. It was a cartoon, obviously. But, yeah, I don't think it had Robin Williams in it. I don't think it... But, I mean, it was a little weird. It was like he was out of the game, but the kids and him would go back and forth into the game.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense. It's like it's not really connected with the movie, but whatever.
Right. Well, yeah, I feel like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that it has poor reviews online.
Yeah.
Jumanji.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Like, I can't even, other than the bad CGI, I can't think of a reason.
I mean...
watching the whole thing, I was trying to, like, okay, is the acting bad? No. Is the story bad?
Well,
no.
the Kid Allen's acting isn't great.
Well, yeah, but he's in the movie for, like, 10 minutes.
Yeah. But the girl who plays What's-Her-Face, Sarah, young Sarah, friggin' half her role is screaming.
I did notice that this movie did have a lot of screaming in it, but...
Yeah. It's like a kid's horror movie. Like, it's kind of scary, it's
lighthearted.
Lighthearted enough. Yeah, lighthearted and scary. But yeah, it's a good movie. So now it's time for...
We should get a Pizookie later today.
Okay.
Just, like, after dinner, we should go to the diner. I mean, not the diner. It was so good. Maybe we could see if they... Anyways, I'm just really craving a Pizookie right now.
Now it's time for Maya's Mention. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, so it's much more calm this time. Should I explain it again?
Yeah, freaking, it's your thing, dude.
No, I just mean what this segment is.
Oh.
This segment is,
maybe the first few times.
Right, where I just mention a movie that's just a good sit-down movie. I don't know. Rewind. Edit that part out. Good sit-down movie. As opposed to one where you just stand up
and watch it. Yeah.
It's so dumb. I don't even remember what I said last time. This segment is just because during the main event we're gonna be doing a lot of, I guess, like, well, just, you know, the action, more controversial movies that I feel like are seen by a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So this segment is like where we just mention movies that maybe weren't even in theater, or is this in theater? Yeah. Or just, you know, just like the smaller movies that maybe not everybody's seen, but are just like good movies. They don't have a whole lot of controversy around them because there's nothing to be controversial about them. So it's kind of a quick review. Yeah. Review/recommendation. Yeah. For this episode, we're going to be talking about employee... Hold on, you can edit that part out. For this part, we are going to mention Employee of the Month. Starring Dane Cook. Yes. And Jessica Simpson and Dax Shepard. Oh, yeah. Great combo. Yep. It's a hilarious movie. I remember watching it when I was like 10, maybe. I think our dad's the one that showed it to us. Yeah. It's rated PG-13. It's a comedy. Yeah, sort of a rom-com, I guess. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But mostly a comedy. Yeah. I feel like. Yeah, it's just really good. Dane Cook heelys around a place that's like Costco. Yeah, he works. And who doesn't dream of doing that? It's like all your childhood dreams coming true. It does star Dane Cook, which is actually kind of controversial. Oh. Because he was a comedian that was, for anybody that doesn't know, he was a comedian that was popular in the... Early 200s? Oh my god. Early aughts. What? The aughts. That's what they're called. 200s doesn't make any sense. The early zeros? Whatever. You don't say... What? When you reference... That was a thing that was invented like forever ago. I have never heard that term before. Yeah. In The Music Man, when he says that he's the graduating class of '05, he means 1905. What? Yeah. 1905? Yes.
That movie's old, or supposed to be old.
19?
It's not that old. The movie is not that old, but it's supposed to...
Wait, I'm confused. Are we talking about the...
Music Man. With the singing and the fakery.
No, not that part, but you said... Oh.
He says he's a teacher from the graduating class of
Okay.
05.
I get it now.
I graduated high school in 09.
Right. But I thought you just meant it was a reference for, like, the early 1900s, so, like, 1905. And I was like, this was made in 2000, and so, okay.
Oh my
I
god.
got really...
Never mind. Anyway, employee of the month. But Dane Cook was not super... I mean, he was very popular, but he also generated a lot of hate, which, just really quick, my theory is that his comedy isn't self-disparaging enough, because a lot of comedians and a lot of popular comedians tend to make fun of themselves. Dane Cook never really made fun of himself.
Well, maybe he was also ahead of his time. I feel like he was very vulgar.
Yes, he was
I
very
feel like it'd be
vulgar.
more accepted now than in the aughts.
Yeah. Oh my God. Starred him, and he did a pretty good job. I mean, he's not a friggin' amazing actor, but
No, but
he did
it's not-
fine. He was entertaining.
You just shouldn't be a person who sits down.
What the hell was that?
What the?
Something just fell.
What? I don't even remember
What were we
what I was
talking
saying.
about?
Oh, like if you're a person who just sits there every single movie, and you just like tear it apart in your brain just while you're watching it. Like, don't watch movies.
Yeah, why are you watching it in the first place?
I feel like there's always something wrong with every single movie.
Yeah.
No movie's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
Like, just sit down. Don't stand up and watch it. Sit down. I mean, you can stand up if you want
I really
to.
want to, I guess.
And just enjoy it. It's funny. It has dumb jokes. Like,
Yeah. It's
not supposed to be taken
it's a
seriously.
comedy. It's not...
Yeah.
And it's a good comedy. It's not like the Judd Apatow comedies of today that are so incredibly popular that I don't really find funny.
Which one?
Like, This Is 40 and 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Basically, like everything Amy Schumer's in now.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Dane Cook plays just a Costco-like employee.
Yeah. Supermart?
Super Club.
Oh, Super Club.
Super Club. Super Club. He's going up against Dax Shepard, who is an insufferable employee who has been employee of the month freaking long...
14 months?
Yeah, 14 months in a row.
He's about to go into the Hall of Fame if he won one more time or something.
Yeah, and win a brand newish Chevy Malibu. So it's got a lot of...
Chevy Malibu a girl car?
It's an economy car. It's not really anything special. And
But
it's
I feel
newish.
like somebody's told me that mostly girls have that car.
Maybe because of the Barbie Malibu. Malibu Barbie. I don't know.
Probably.
And he decides that he wants to become employee of the month, Dane Cook. So he goes up against Dax Shepard, and they have...
To win a girl, of course. What else would it
Yeah.
be?
But then again, we don't want to do spoilers for this segment, but it's got some good character growth.
Yes.
Well written. The comedy is all very well written, in my opinion. And it's still funny. I still laughed out loud. It's good stuff.
Yes.
So, since we wanted to start the email segment, this will be the email segment because we have an email.
From a listener.
From a listener. We only have one.
Let me see it.
Well, I'm just going to read it. Why?
Well, I can't. Maybe I want to read the questions. Why do you have
Fine.
to read the questions?
Then you read the
God.
question.
So first question is, where is Miranda? Miranda is currently in Holland, I think.
Overseas.
I could look up her location.
We don't want to put that
But
necessarily.
yeah, that would be a little...
But granted,
Who
by the
heck
time...
is going to go out there?
By the time this
Find
comes
her.
out, she might not.
She's going to be almost... She's probably going to be like on a plane
Anyway.
coming back. Anyways, who is Miranda? Miranda is my older sister. Ryan's
My-
younger sister.
Yeah.
Why is Miranda?
Now, I actually put a lot of thought into this question.
Okay.
I think... it's a very deep question. Why is Miranda?
Yeah.
I think that there is not enough joy in the world. And Miranda's purpose seems to be spreading as much joy as possible even to the detriment of herself, sacrificing her time and sometimes happiness in an attempt to help other people. I really think that is why is Miranda.
Wow, you did put a lot of thought. I'm going to cry. Because it's so true. I can't even tell you how many things she's done for me.
It is. It was, like I said, it's a deep question.
Insane, honestly.
Yeah.
Number 2, how can I sign up for this red card? Oh, I guess nobody can see me.
Is the sound of air quotes.
Well, all you got to do is go to your local Target. You can either sign up for the debit card, so it hooks up directly to your checking account. So all you got to do is bring in a blank check to sign up for that one. It does take about 5 minutes of your time to give them your information, so just be prepared for that. It's not super fun when there's a long line. If you do it during the busy hours and there's the longest line behind you and you're doing 7 minutes, because you do have to give them a lot of your information. And you can also apply for the credit card, but you do have to be approved. You can be declined for that. So I just have the debit because it hooks up straight to my bank account, checking account. You get 5% off every day, all items. Doesn't matter if they're a clearance or sale, you'll get 5% off. You can also use it at the Starbucks if there's a Starbucks in there. That's always a winner with most people. Mm-hmm. Oh, you can use it at Starbucks. Oh, okay, sign me up.
Sweet.
Yeah, basically. Now that Target's super advanced, I don't know why I'm opening my phone. People can't see me.
No.
You can download the Target app. You can hook up your card onto the app. So if you forget your card, which I do all the time, all you got to do is show them your barcode, and then they scan it, and it just goes right through. You don't even have to enter your PIN.
Quick.
Anything. Yeah, super quick. Although I think they're still figuring some stuff out because I have been there and it doesn't work. It only happened one time though, which was really annoying because I often don't spend that much at Target to where the 5% really makes a difference. But now that I'm an adult and have been making over $100 purchases there, it was quite annoying because it was the first time I had a purchase over $150 and it wasn't taking the 5% off.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go to Target a lot, you should get it. It's definitely worth it. I've saved a lot of money.
Yeah,
anyways.
I have one. And don't you get free 2-day shipping as well?
Oh yeah, when you have a red card, you also get free 2-day shipping, which is really helpful. It's basically like Amazon but for Target. Yeah. You still get 5% off online too. Yeah. With it, so.
They also do take a little bit for the transactions to come out.
Yeah, it takes a few days, so you do have to keep that in mind. Yeah. Because that's confused me before.
Don't want to overdraft.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep that in mind when you're using it. 3, why you guys so funny? It's grammatically incorrect, but we'll answer it anyway.
I think that we were just raised properly, and
our parents gave us just enough childhood trauma to be funny.
Yeah, enough.
They didn't overdo it.
Yeah, no.
I don't even know if we're that funny. I feel like we're just funny to the people we know.
Yeah, and to ourselves.
Who knows? Yeah, I think I'm freaking hilarious. I listened to the podcast that we released on Friday. I listened to it yesterday. I was laughing the whole time. Just because me.
Nice. So humble.
Yes.
There was a couple suggestions, too. Want to read the first suggestion?
No, number 2 is... I think.
Oh my God. First suggestion. Keep talking about Kingdom Hearts.
It was obviously a joke.
Thank you, listener.
No.
Yes. We will talk more about Kingdom Hearts. I'm playing the second one right now, and I'm stuck at a part, so I'm grinding. For anybody that doesn't know, grinding means just trying to level up. Anyway. Next suggestion.
I think you guys should review Batman and Robin.
Now, Batman and Robin might be the only Batman movie I don't actually own. Except for the Adam West and it might be. I don't know if I really want to cover it though. I don't like that movie. But that might be an interesting exercise.
I was gonna say we should watch it and try to find the I don't even remember it, but we should watch it and try to find the positives. I have no idea what movie she's talking about. There's too many Batman movies.
The one with Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze.
Oh, I've always liked Poison Ivy.
I don't like any of that movie.
Well,
but this is your positive review, so
We will find the positive
with a
in it.
lens of positivity. I can't even remember because like the whole time Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Mr. Freeze, and all he does is just say ice puns. It'll be a cold day in hell.
Does he talk like that?
Yeah.
That's fine.
He talks like Arnold, but he just says ice puns.
Oh, he's Arnold's?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, I missed that.
I freaking just said that.
I zoned out.
Thank you. My co-host zones out of the show. What does that mean for the listener? Anyway.
No, it's just me. I was reading this part.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, yeah, sure.
Anyway. But yeah, so we might cover Batman and Robin.
Oopsie.
Now, preview time. I guess we're just going to do this right now. We need to figure out what movie we're doing next because I want to tell people. I think we should do an adult movie because so far we've covered two kids' movies. Yeah, well, something PG-13 and up.
Oh my god. Employee of the Month was PG-13?
Oh my god, that was the main mention. So, I mean, there's, just really quick, there's Constantine. I like that movie a lot. I really want to do Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson because
I'd be okay with that.
Nobody likes that movie. There's the Hercules with The Rock.
Oh, never seen it.
Oh my god, man. The Losers, which is really good.
Never seen it. It's fine if I haven't seen it.
I don't watch anything. I watch everything.
It's almost better.
There's Sucker Punch. I like Sucker Punch.
I think I have seen the one with all the women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that one.
Which one do you want to do?
It's a good one. All.
All of them. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I feel like it's easier for me when I do movies I don't know. That I haven't seen.
Have you not seen Constantine?
I'm pretty sure I have. I just can't remember anything about it, so it'd basically be the same.
Okay, cool. So next week we'll be covering Constantine, starring Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen it.
I like that movie a lot. It's got one of my favorite depictions of the devil ever.
The devil.
So yeah, next week
we'll
be... Good callback. So yeah, next Friday we'll be covering Constantine.
Yay! Applause.
Oh, also, dude, you guys need to remember, well liked or panned, every story has a positive, and you're not alone in finding it.
Oh my god, it's crazy up there.
Stupid. It does need to be set up closer to you because you're not loud enough and I'm too loud.
Too many cooks, too many cooks.